Here is how you can create your free account on OpenHR, South Africa's best free payroll and HR software. On your device, open your browser and go to www.openhr.co.za. Once there, click on Sign Up in the top right-hand corner. Here, please provide a valid email that will be verified and choose a secure password, and then confirm that password in the field provided. Then you can click on Save. The system will take you to the Verify screen to inform you to check your emails for your confirmation link. During this step, most browsers will also offer to save your login details. If you share your device, we do not recommend this. Then you can open your email app and look for the welcome email from OpenHR support. Please click on the link provided, which will confirm your email and take you back to OpenHR. Now you can log in by clicking on Login in the top right-hand corner and enter your login details. You can also select the Remember Me option to skip login in the future. If you share your device, we do not recommend this. Finally, click on the Login button, which will take you to the OpenHR dashboard. Learn how to personalize your account and profile settings on OpenHR, South Africa's best free payroll and HR software. Once you are logged in, as shown in our sign-up video, you can click on your email address in the top right-hand corner, which will bring up your account menu. Here you can access your profile settings, change your password, or log out. We will go ahead and click on Profile Settings. In your profile settings, you have the option to disable communications related to system updates and marketing. You can also disable reminders related to birthdays, contract expirations, and permit expirations. You also have the option to change the theme from light to dark, and to change between a plain background or our default background image. The last option you have is to upgrade your account to OpenHR Plus with the 3 tiers available. This is based on an honor system for the premium features like contracts. But you still have access to everything, even if you can't support us at the moment. Once you are done, you can click on Save to apply the changes. Learn how to create a free company on OpenHR, South Africa's best free payroll and HR software. In your browser, go to www.openhr.co.za. Once you're logged in, you can create a new company by either clicking on the Create Company card, click on Create Company in the Company Selection menu in the top right-hand corner, or click on the Create Company card and selecting Create Company. Once you have clicked on Create Company, you can capture all the required information of the company. If you are in a hurry, all that is required is a company trade name and the currency under the bank section. You also have the option to add your company logo. Once done, you can click on Save. This will take you to the company profile page. To manage your company in the future, you can either do so from the Settings menu, or you can click on the Company menu in the top right-hand corner and click on Manage. There is also an option to create a new company from there, and this will also be where you switch between multiple companies. You can add as many companies as you want. In the Manage Company screen, you have your Profile tab, a tab to add more users and manage user access, you have an Audit Trail tab for a complete overview of who did what and when, and you have a tab to delete the company. To add more free company users on OpenHR and help you departmentalize your HR and payroll functions, you can click on Settings at the top and then click on Company and Users. Then you can click on the Users tab and finally click on New. Here, you can provide the user email address. Please keep to lowercase. Then, you can also select what access you want to give the user. Each access permission relates to both the processing and reporting of that function. whereas the employee function can still view certain things like net pay amounts in the employee payroll profile payslip tab, although they will not be able to access the payslip detail if they do not have payslip permission. Same with the other information in the employee profile. They will also have access to onboarding. The company access will allow the user to view and modify both the company and its users, and they will also be able to delete users, even you. Once you click on Save, the new user will receive an email informing them of such, and all the other users will be carbon copied into the email. Navigating the OpenHR Advanced Dashboard is a breeze. At the top left, you have your function menus, namely navigating to the dashboard, viewing employees, accessing the services, reports, settings, and support menus. On the top right-hand side, you have your companies menu to quickly switch between companies or create a new one, and your user menu as shown in our prior video. On the main screen, you have your various clickable function cards. Your first card is for your employees, the second is for advances and loans, then you have your expense claims, and the last one on the top is for leave. In the next row, you have your payslips, permits, surveys, and training. The bottom row has your transgressions, EMP 201, reports, all reports, which is the same as the reports menu at the top, and last but not least, your onboarding console access. All the cards also provide you with a high-level overview of key insights. Before you get started adding free and unlimited employee profiles, we first need to check some company-specific settings. The first thing we will do is add all the job titles and descriptions within the company. To do this, we can click on the Services menu at the top and then click on Jobs. In the Jobs screen, we can click on the New button and in the form provided, add the job role title and the description. Both these reflect on employee confirmation letters, and the role title is also used by our AI to generate an organogram for you automatically. Once you have completed this, you can click on Save and Continue to add all the job titles within your company. Our second step in setting up company specifics is pay transactions. These are items that specify income and deduction types on payslips that are linked to IRP5 codes. To begin setting up pay transactions, you can click on Settings and then Pay Transactions. Here you will note that some basics have been added for you, which you can edit or you can easily add new pay transactions by clicking on the New button at the top. All you need to do is provide the related IRP5 code, which is represented by the IRP5 code, the type, and full description. Some fringe benefits from employer contributions are not available, as these are automatically included in pay-as-you-earn calculations and also automatically added to the IRP5s. Other non-tax-related deductions can be added using the IRP5 code XXXX. These may include anything from stock fail deductions to bargaining counsel fees. Loans and advances captured through OpenHR will be automatically deducted with the deduction pay transaction already provided. It is recommended not to change the default deduction pay transaction. You must also provide a description, and you can choose to allocate a priority number, which will be the order pay transactions are listed on payslips and reports. And lastly, you can click on Save. Our last step in setting up company specifics is custom leave types. To do this, you can click on Settings and then on Leave Types. Here you will find defaults added for you for a 5-day work week according to the basic conditions of employment. If all your employees work a 6-day work week, you can simply update the annual and sick leave default allowance. You will also be able to override this allowance for each employee in their profiles. If you want to add a custom leave type, you can do so by clicking on the New button at the top and complete the fields provided, taking note of the requirements at the top. Another requirement is that the cycle length is more than 0. You can also choose here if it should be printed on the payslip or not. When you are done, you can click on Save. You would also have noted that our annual cycles are 365.25 days. The extra quarter day is to provision for the extra day every leap year. You can round this down if you want to. With all the company specifics now set up on South Africa's best free payroll and HR software, we can start adding our employees. I will be opening a completed information sheet which can be printed from the employee screen. Once I have the employee information sheet handy, we can go to the employee's screen by clicking on the employee card on our dashboard, and then clicking on New. In the form, we can complete all the information. But if you are in a hurry, the only information required is the employee name and appointment date. It is, however, recommended that you complete as much information as possible to make things like UIF and IRP5 submissions easier. Under the Job section, you will note that you can now select from those we added in our prior video. You can also provide an internal code should you use one in your company. It is also important to select a pay frequency to easily create payslip batches for all employees from the same pay frequency in a few clicks. The alternate identification number is for individuals without an ID or passport number, which may be allocated with a refugee number. If your employee qualifies for ETI, you must also complete the 3 required fields. You are also able to select the languages which the employee can speak. When you are done completing all the information, you can click on Save. After you added an employee, it is vital that you update their leave opening balance, which will follow shortly. In your Employee Index screen, you have various options next to your employee. The second last is to edit, and the last is where you can add notes, attachments, and access audit trail history. I like to attach things like the employee information sheet, CV, and qualifications here. The first 3 options are the various employee profiles. You have one for payroll, which include all the employees' advances, tax directives, pay slips, and pay rates. The second profile is for HR-related items, like asset checkouts, expense claims, leave opening balances, and leave taken in employee performance reviews. The last profile is for compliance-related items like employee contracts, permits, training registers, and employee warnings or transgressions. As mentioned, after creating an employee, you must set up the employee leave opening balances. This can be done in the HR profile and clicking on the Opening Balances tab. The leave opening balance date defaults to the appointment date, but this must be changed to the payroll take-on date. Once the first payslip is generated, it will use this date to start the leave calculation, and that then cannot be changed. You also have options to add the opening balance values, which are in days, and then override individual leave allowances should it be different than the default. Like, some employees who work longer may be getting more leave than newer employees. This is where you would override it. To streamline payroll processing, we can add default pay and deduction rates to our employee profiles. There are 2 options to do this. The first option is the pay rates listing screen, which can be accessed from the settings menu at the top and then the pay rates option. However, we only recommend this option when updating bulk rates. The standard option we do recommend is from the employee's payroll profile. We can go to the employee listing, then click on the payroll profile button next to the relevant employee, and then click on the pay rates tab. The top section is for pay rates where you can click on Add New. You can select the pay transaction type, which was set up in one of our earlier videos. Most employees either get paid hourly or on a fixed salary basis. We will first be showing you how to add hourly rates. You can select the hourly rate transaction in the dropdown. Quantity can either be made the standard hours per pay period or 0, as to make sure we enter the actual hours worked every pay period on the payslip. We will make it 0 for checks and balances purposes. Lastly, we can enter the rate per hour earned in the rate field. and click on Save. If there is sometimes overtime worked, we can also add the overtime rates with 0 as the quantity for the purposes of checks and balances, and then the relevant overtime rates. The quantities you then change on the actual payslips will be the quantities that reflect on the salary schedule as well. Next, we can add a salaried pay rate structure for another employee. Again, in their payroll profile, we can select the Pay Rate tab and add New at the top. We can then select Salary for the pay transaction type, and for quantity we use 1 as they only earn 1 salary and work based on a standard average set of hours per month. Lastly, enter the salary amount in rate and click on Save. To make your initial setup easier, you can open each employee's payroll profile in a new tab. I like to open something in a new tab by clicking on the mouse wheel. Remember, you can also add default deductions and company contributions here, like any stock fell, medical aid contributions, or even Provident Fund contributions, and use the percentage contribution as the rate. For example, 7.5% contribution will be entered as 0.075. And then when you process the payslips, just update the quantity equal to the earnings total. With salaried individuals, you can also add default unpaid leave rates with a quantity of 0 and a rate as a negative daily or even hourly rate. Just make sure you indicate that in the pay transaction settings in the description to not get confused. If you have more structured pay rate questions, feel free to contact our Real Human support staff for free on WhatsApp or email.
With our companies, employees, and pay rates now set up, our next step is to ensure we have captured employee advances or loans. We recommend processing employee advances the moment the employee requests one, as you can also print out a loan agreement from OpenHR that is already completed with all the information for the employee to sign. It's better to have signed physical copies of any documents relating deductions from pay, which an advance falls under, should these deductions be queried by either labor inspectors or the CCMA. To capture an employee advance, you can select the Advances card on the dashboard and then click on New at the top. In the form provided, you can select the employee, enter the advance amount, enter any administration fees like the bank charges, should it be company policy for the employee to pay that. Then you can select when the advance installment should start being deducted from the employee's pay. If it will start with the next payslip, you can select the same date as the application. Lastly, you can enter the number of pay periods over which the employee want to repay the advance. Then click on Save. Once it is saved, you can click on the Print button next to the advance item, which will provide you with an advance agreement which you can print and let the employee and supervisor sign. Remember, South African labor law requires that all deductions made from remuneration be agreed upon in writing. This will then be automatically deducted from the next payslip that is generated. Should you have already created the payslip on which the deduction should have started, you can simply click to view the advance, which will then give you an option to add the deduction to the already created payslip. You can click on Process and then refresh the page, which should show that an installment was deducted from both the advance balance and the payslip. Capturing leave on OpenHR is just as easy and fast as you have come to expect. From your dashboard, you can click on the Leave card in the top right and then click on the New button at the top. In the form provided, you can capture the required fields, of which the description is optional. Finally, click on Save. And just like advances, you can also print out the leave application should you wish. If anything changes or the leave was canceled, you can simply edit the leave application and change the quantity to 0 if canceled, or update the quantity as required.
In this video, we will show you how to create employee payslips. Before you create your first payslip, be sure you have checked leave opening balances and take on dates in the employee's HR profiles, and also set up all the pay and deduction rates in their payroll profiles. There are two ways to create payslips in OpenHR. The first, which we do not recommend, is from the employee's payroll profile under the Payslip tab. But we will be creating the payslips in batches for all the employees with the same pay frequency selected in their profiles from the payslip card on the dashboard. You can click the New button at the top and then select the pay frequency for which you are creating the payslips and the from and to dates. And lastly, click on Save. The system will then generate the payslips for you and also calculate leave earned for those employees up to the last date of the payslip. All you now have to do is update any quantities of things like hourly rates, overtime, and unpaid leave according to their actual working hours. Finally, when you view the payslip, and should you not agree with any statutory deduction calculated, you override it by clicking on the relevant statutory amount. You can also print and email individual payslips with the options next to the payslip. On payslips, you will also note a unique QR code which can be scanned by third parties with whom the payslip was shared, like credit controllers at a retailer, who can then verify the authenticity of the payslip without needing to call you because your time is valuable. When the code is scanned, they will also be asked a security question, of which the answer is on the payslip. Payslips can also be emailed in bulk from Reports, and then the payslip email option, where you can then click on the email button next to the relevant pay period you created. You can view the net pay listing on the same screen, which also details banking information to easily process when you pay them electronically. Lastly, should you wish to add a default payslip message to all payslips, you can do this from Settings, and then click on Payslip Message. This is a nice feature if you want to announce when you will be closing for Christmas or any other company-wide important notice. After you save, you will see it on all payslips. When you are ready to remove it, simply clear the message the same way. When you are
done with your monthly payroll and you are ready to submit your EMP 201 report, you can access this report either with the card at the bottom on the dashboard or by clicking on the Reports menu at the top and then select EMP 201. You can then click on New at the top, confirm the period, and then click on Save. When you navigate back to payslips, you will note that creating an EMP 201 report also closes the period for you. We do not want discrepancies between what you submit to SARS and your actual records. Should you, however, need to correct something, you can simply view the EMP 201 report and delete the report, which will enable you to edit the payslips again. Submitting your UIF reports to the Department of Labor is easy. In the Reports menu at the top, scroll down to UIF Submissions. Should there be any missing information, simply view what is still required and correct in either the company or employee profiles or both. During your first run of the report, you will be asked what was the number of the last report submitted to the Department of Labor with your prior software, which you can enter and click on Save. You will then be able to select the period which you want to submit, which is based on EMP 201 reports already created. You can click on Run to view the data, and once you are happy, you can click on Email at the bottom. Once you have emailed it, you can refresh the page, which will show it was submitted. You will also receive an email with the submission.
Generating your IRP5 file to download is quick and easy. As soon as you have processed your EMP 201 report for either August or February, you can go to Reports at the top and then select the IRP5 option. If there is any missing company or employee information, you will be asked to fix it. Otherwise, you can click on New at the top, select the relevant period. If you don't see the period option, make sure the EMP 201 was created, and then click on Save. As soon as the system generated your report, you can view both the EMP 501 and the IRP 5s from the relevant tabs at the top. Only February period IRP 5s can be viewed. To download the Easy file, you can click on Download from the main EMP 501 listing. To terminate an employee on OpenHR, you can view any of the employee's payroll, HR, or compliance profiles from the employee screen. At the top, you can click on the Terminate button, provide the termination date and reason, and then click on Save. When you navigate back to the employee listing screen, you will note the terminated employee is no longer listed, but is now available from the Terminated Employee screen, which can be found clicking the red button at the top. OpenHR also offers you the ability to print various confirmations and certificates in a single click. You can print this anytime with only the manual UI-19 being available after termination. You can do this in any of the employees' profiles by scrolling down to the Other section and selecting the required document. You have the option to print a confirmation of employment with details like appointment date, job title, and if you added it in the job setup, the job description. The second option is the Certificate of Service, which is the same as the confirmation of employment, but usually issued upon termination. You also have the option to print a confirmation of address, which employees sometimes require when opening bank accounts, and these only state that you are confirming information on their employment record. The last option is to print a manual UI-19, where you may need to confirm a few details, the rest is auto-completed. To rehire an employee is just as easy as you have come to expect. Simply navigate to the terminated employee's profile and click on the green Rehire button at the top. Review the information, select a new appointment date, add languages, and then click on Save. Navigate back to the employee's listing, where the new employee profile will be visible. The prior pay rates would be added again for you, which you can then review. You also need to review the new leave opening balance date, and leave opening balances should leave balances be reinstated. Another thing that should be noted, prior payslips, leave applications, loans, and any other document generated will only be linked to the prior employee profile, which can easily be viewed in the Prior tab, and then viewing the prior profile. Need to track which employees are using which company assets? We've made it easy for you on OpenHR. First, we need to add the asset in our settings. This can be anything from a company vehicle, phone, laptop, bank card, or a Tesla Optimus bot. We will click on Settings at the top and then on Assets. To add a new asset, we click on New at the top, and then we can provide the information applicable, of which only the description is mandatory. However, giving as much information as possible will only help you with identification in the future. Once we click on Save, we will be able to view the asset, which gives us 3 tabs. One for the asset information, one to see checkouts and returns, and create new checkouts, and the last one to dispose of the asset. You have 2 ways you can check out an asset. One from the asset profile, by clicking on New at the top under the Checkouts tab, or from the employee's HR profile, and then from the Asset tab. In the checkout form, you can add information like the condition and even add photos of the current condition. You can also print for the employee to acknowledge and sign the checkout if you like paperwork. Paperwork protects you at the end of the day and instills a sense of responsibility. As soon as the employee returns the asset, you can click on Return and complete the required information. You can also add photos of the returned asset for comparative purposes. This can also be done from Assets under Settings, which shows you the current status of who has the asset and also lists all the history of users. You can also add a photo of the asset to its profile. Generating an employee contract on your company's template is as simple as a click. First, let's check the contract templates, of which you can add as many as you like under the Settings menu. The default provided for you can also be modified by clicking on View. You will note some variables which you can use, which is automatically populated by actual employee and company data when the employee contract is generated. You can add a new section with the New button at the top, or edit or delete a section with the options next to each section. Note the position numbers of each section and subsection, which we code in the thousands to make it easier to insert future sections. You can code it as you wish. Adding a completely new contract template can be done by clicking on New in the contract template listing and then providing it a name and saving. Once named, you can start adding sections one for one. When you are done with the template for your company, you can now start generating contract for employees in a single click. This can be done from the Services menu and then Contracts, but we like to do it from the Employee's Compliance profile under the Contracts tab. Select New, select the template, select whether permanent or fixed, if it's fixed, selecting the From and To dates. Before contract expiry, OpenHR will email you, reminding you and also offer you the ability to do a performance review. Once saved, it will be generated. And as you can see when viewing the contract, the variables have been auto-filled with company and employee information. But you can also, again, edit and reformat as required, and then print when done. Keeping track of detailed expense claims is standard with OpenHR. First, check that you have set up all the categories under the Settings menu at the top and then selecting expense categories. Adding new categories or editing existing ones is as easy as you have come to know. Processing expense claims can either be done from the Services menu and then Expense Claims, or from the employee's HR profile under the Expenses tab. To add a new one, click on New at the top. Select the employee. You can add project details and then add itemized expenses on a single claim. Once done, click on Save. You have the option to print. You also have the option to mark it as paid, which include method and date, and it will be marked accordingly. As we all in HR know so well, life isn't always a bed of roses. OpenHR comes with a default disciplinary code, which can also be used to keep track of employee transgressions. To view the disciplinary code, navigate to the Services menu at the top and select Disciplinary Code. The defaults are listed, which you can modify or add your own in the easy way you have come to love. A transgression can be processed also from the Services menu and then scrolling down to Transgressions at the bottom. Click on New, select the employee, transgression date, type, transgression as per the disciplinary code, the validity. For more serious transgressions, it would be 12 months, with others usually being 6 months. There's also a note field to add important details. Don't be shy, add a complete encounter. Once saved, it can be printed for all parties to sign. Sending out employee reviews is quick and easy. First, you can double-check the employee performance review templates under the settings menu. A default is provided for you, which you can view. You can also edit the default if you would like to make a few changes. To add your own employee performance review template, you can click on New at the top of the screen, provide it with a title, a description, and then start adding as many questions as you want. Once done, you can click on Save at the bottom, and the new review template is added. Sending out an employee performance review is just as easy. In the Services menu, scroll down and click on Performance Reviews. Click on New at the top. On the form, we firstly select the employee under review. We then select the period from and to under review. We can then select the review template, and lastly, we select the coworkers who would be doing the reviews. You can also include the employee under review to do a self-review. To select more than one, hold down the Shift key when selecting reviewers. As you will note, once saved, the employees with an email address in their profile will get a unique link to access and complete the review. For those without emails, you can share links on WhatsApp. You also have an option to copy the unique links or resend it via email individually. Once the links are sent out, reviewers can click on their unique links and complete the performance reviews with ratings out of 5 for each question, and add notes. Once they are done, they can simply click on Save. As each survey is completed, the overall average will update, and you will be able to see who completed their reviews already too. Another convenient feature that OpenHR offers is employee telephone extension listings. In the Services menu at the top, you can click on Extension List. From here, you can add a new employee telephone extension by clicking a menu button at the top. In the form provided, you can select the employee and enter the extension number, then click on Save. This is also a nice place to add mobile numbers for the employees that are shared for business purposes. This can be printed with the print button at the top or downloaded into Excel. What also makes this a great feature is the fact that it forms part of the onboarding module welcome pack and can be printed out with all other important documents in a single click, all from the same screen when welcoming a new team member. If you have employees that drive a forklift, or use a company vehicle, or even travel abroad for work, OpenHR helps you keep track of employee permits, passports, and licenses, and when they come up for renewal. This is a nice feature that, should anything happen and you need this for insurance purposes, you can access it from anywhere, even on your phone. Permits can be managed from the Permits card on the dashboard or from the Services menu at the top, and clicking on Permits. To add a new permit, license, visa, or passport, click on New at the top. In the form provided, select the employee, add a description, permit number, select the expiry, and lastly, you can even add a copy of the document to access from anywhere in those emergencies. And then you can click on Save. OpenHR will inform you and the employee, should they have an email address saved in their profile, a month before expiry, which should give you enough time to bring everything up to date again.
Don't know what to do for your year-end function? Send out a survey and let your employees vote. Surveys are available from the Surveys card on the dashboard or from the Services menu at the top. To start a new survey, click on the New button, select the employees to include in the survey, hold down the Shift key, and click to make multiple selections. Add a title, description, and select an expiry. You also have the option to keep responses anonymous, of which employees will be notified. Once done, click on Save to start adding survey questions and responses. To add a new question, click on New at the top, enter the survey question, select whether multiple choice is allowed, and then add the responses. Once done with your question, click on Save. Once you've added all the survey questions, refresh the page, click on Finalize to email to employees with email addresses in their profiles. For the rest, you can share unique links. Selected employees can then navigate to their emails and click on the links provided. As employees complete the surveys, you will be able to see who is done under the Respondents tab. As soon as everyone has completed the surveys, or it is expired, then results can be viewed under the Results tab.
Keeping track of formal and informal training is a breeze with OpenHR and helps with all those SDL-CETA claims. Your training register can be accessed from the Services menu at the top of the screen or from the training card on the dashboard. At the top, you can click on New, which will provide you with a comprehensive form of which only the start and end dates and times are required. It is, however, recommended that you complete as much information as possible to make government claims easier. onboarding has become much easier, from job ads to the final employee contract, all on one console. To start with the onboarding process, you can click on the onboarding card on the dashboard. Our first step is to advertise a job post. This can be done from the first card or from the job post screen in the second card. In the job post screen, you can click on New at the top, select the job as set up under the Services menu, select a closing date for applicants, which is also when the ad will end. Next, you can select the expected starting date. You can also select the pay frequency. This will make the remuneration structure more attractive and also directly links to when a job application is converted into an employee. When adding pay rates, you can add two of the same rates and it will reflect the range on the ad. You can also select to make the ad public on OpenHR for job seekers to find you. And in the final field, you can add more information about the position, requirements, and even more about the company to help attract top talent. And once saved, when navigating to the Job Ads card in the onboarding console, your ad will be visible to all. Prospective candidates can then directly apply by providing their email address, which will forward an electronic job application to their inbox. Which they can then complete, add supporting documents, and then submit to you. After which you will be notified. Applicants can be viewed by clicking on the applicants card and view individual applications. You can view the entire profile, attachments added by the applicant, the job post you created, and in the final tab, you can update the status and send a one-click job offer. Job offers are emailed to candidates who can then electronically accept or decline. OpenHR also allows you to convert a job application to an employee from the application screen. Just make sure you select an appointment date. Once an application was converted to an employee, you can then also generate an employment contract from your onboarding console. Then, when the big day arrives, you can welcome them with an information packet that includes important company information, the internal telephone extension list, a company organogram, or any other document you want to attach to easily access and print. Finally, we get to OpenHR's extensive reports. The first one I want to show you is more of an information dashboard about staff turnover for the past 12 months. This can be viewed by clicking on Services at the top and then on Jobs. This will display the number of current hires, the number of staff terminated the past 12 months, and the turnover rate for each job role. This helps to identify high staff turnover per role so you can easily address any possible issue. High staff turnover means you are spending too much time and money on training and recruitment. Our first official report from the Reports menu is the Advances report, which shows loans given to employees and the relevant repayment deductions. The Clothing report helps businesses that order staff uniforms and overalls. You can simply print the report and give it to your supplier. There's also the Demographics report, which can help you stay one step ahead of the Department of Labor. We might not like it, but it's better to have the information and use it to your advantage. Our Employees report allows you to print out or export any employee information contained in their profiles. The Expenses report gives a detailed listing and description of expense claims. You can also run leave reports per leave type, which also shows the balance. The net pay report was discussed with payslips. You can also generate an organogram with the help of AI. You also have your return of earnings report for the annual COITA submission to the Compensation Fund, where you can select directors or members and any income type to exclude. The salary schedule can help you complete those UIF forms, which summarizes the earnings quantities entered on payslips and the total earnings per type per month. You also have a transgression report. The UIF declaration was discussed in a prior video, and the final report is the year-to-date for a complete overview, including cost to company.